In this video, I'll show the changes for Overgrowth Alpha 169, which you can try if you've pre-ordered. First, I added a couple more features to the detail objects. If you look at these 3D rocks, you can see that they don't quite match the 2D rocks in the texture, because they're picking up some of the dark brown color of the dirt. To fix that, there's now an overbright parameter, which lets you remove some of the tinting on detail objects. You can also tell that all the grass here is pointing straight up, regardless of the orientation of the underlying ground. If you want to change that, there's a new parameter which lets you match detail objects to the surface orientation, or go somewhere in between the two extremes. This isn't too useful for grass, but it could be important for other detail objects. I also added some notification text to let users know when shadows or navigation meshes are out of date. You can update shadows by clicking on the Calculate Shadows and Calculate Ambient Occlusion buttons on the editor ribbon. It can take a minute or two, so you should usually just do it when the level is done, but the visual improvement's worth it. Usually it's best to edit the level using dynamic shadows, so you can preview how it'll look, and then bake them for the final release. The navigation mesh is used for AI pathfinding, so you should be sure to update that if you're making a level with AI characters. You can do that by clicking the Pathfinding tab and pressing Create Nav Mesh and then Save Nav Mesh. This can also take a minute, but it's important for the characters to be able to navigate around obstacles. If you press View Nav Mesh, then you can test out the pathfinding. You can press Ctrl left click and Ctrl right click to place start and end points, and then look at the calculated path between them. I also changed some basic editor tools. Here's the new Uniform Scale tool, which lets you control the object size by moving the cursor towards or away from its center. I also simplified the free rotation tool, so it works like a trackball. You rotate along the screen vertical axis by dragging left and right, and along the screen horizontal axis by dragging up and down. Finally, I made some small changes to character movement. Now rolling is affected by gravity, so if you try to roll up a hill, you'll just roll back down again. Realistically, you would probably wipe out instead of changing direction, but that wasn't very fun when I tested it, so this seems like a decent compromise. Also, you can no longer run off the edge of the world. Each level is very large, but not infinite, so you can get to the edge if you run far enough. However, now there's a force field there, which pushes you back in the other direction. I don't like invisible walls any more than anyone else does, but I like falling off the level even less. And I thought this force field was at least more interesting than an actual wall. That's it for this week. If you'd like to pre-order and try the alpha for yourself, you can do that at wolfire.com/preorder. If you'd like to hear about development news as soon as it happens, you can follow me on Twitter at Wolfire.